get what you're saying, my brother. Your words are absorbent. But it scares me when you say race isn't important.
But Jamal, how could it be? The only difference between you and me, or me and her, and he and me, is that we come from different families. The color of our skin no longer matters. The fact that people think it is makes it clear evidence that our society still staggers with what's physical.
That may be true, but look how far we've come. I remember a time that we were property, and you're angry because people think a little improperly? Yes, race is the big underlying issue in our society. But I took the disc off my vantage point, now it is providing me a drive for me that's still rioting insatiably. I'm sorry for not acting so graciously, but I've been thinking patience, see? We need to come together like we did in the 60s. But people like you make it impossible to fix these many issues. How can we move forward if you think race is misused? Are you confused?
Actually, no. But you might be, because it's clear to see that me and you weren't alive in the 60s. So what about we? I understand the want to be brave, but my man, you were never a slave. It is disrespectful to take the title of we. If this generation hasn't been through anything along the lines of lynching and being publicly slaughtered, so saying we this, we that, teaches your sons and daughters to expect to be separate but equal, which doesn't make sense. And I have made myself colorblind because race is pointless. Understand the only way we can be as if humanity exists as one entity. The only thing I have in common with them is skin colors, but because we're both black does not make us brothers. It's funny because you insinuate that we should unite in the name of skin tone, but most of the hatred I have combated was spat at me by my own. So before you're quick to come up with the amenity, I would suggest you begin to learn your enemy.
Let me ask you, who's my enemy? Because they're poisoning my mind at the same time befriending me. We have more in common than just our skin. We have our culture, our history, and many, many kin. This is not just pigment I carry around so readily. It is the reincarnation of our black history's legacy. Did you know that years ago, slave owners were scared we would unite and rebel? So they set up a plan that's still working, as you can tell. They pit us against each other. Told us the strong Negro is better than the weak. The light Negro is better than the dark. The quiet Negro is better than the educated one. So those words spat out from your own are really from the oppressor, which you so easily condone. And don't even get me started on what they did to our history, you see. How we haven't put a stop to this is still a mystery to me. They tell us Egypt isn't in Africa, it's in the Middle East. But where's the middle, north, south, and west? The Middle East is just another way for them to make our impact worthless. They try to wipe our advances off the planet. Oh, and I bet you never knew that the Washington Monument was actually made to honor an African god. It's really called a Tekenu.
Just so you know, have I told you I already knew this? But I find it rather pointless to reminisce on our opinion of what existed if it's doing nothing for black people now. You think just because little black Johnny knows about the real Middle East that his chances will be increased for being incarcerated or deceased by unnatural causes? History regulates some things, but bullets are lawless. Why do you focus on the past when everything Johnny draws is everything he's seen? And on the papers of his eyes, dances users, abusers, baby mamas, and thug lives of blood, drugs, and gang wars. Jamal, which side are you fighting for? History is important to learn, don't get me wrong, but singing the same song won't make any impact on the ear, it'll just get used to it. Black people won't change just because they learn someone who looked like them built a pyramid. If you want progress, you need to start slow. The only way you can change it is letting it go.
Let it go? There's something I'm holding on to. I just think it's interesting how you can dismiss every sense and notion of our history and the bodies of the slaves on the floor of the Atlantic Ocean and sum it up with, race doesn't matter? Race defines who I am. Race is the white fire that made me malleable. So as I twist and bend, you insist to end the very thing that made me valuable? This pigment is a masterpiece. It's God sent. So now your intent is to prevent me from using it so masterfully? In this white society, I aspire to be a successful black man. As far as I'm concerned, everyone who disagrees can get the backhand.
Race defines who you are, and yet you want to be equal, but everything you're declaring as a black man makes you unequal. You're telling me that what's on the outside defines you as a whole, while I'm surprised you can put a value on your soul. It's not this pigment made a masterpiece, it's what a person did. It wasn't the fire that made you malleable, brother, it was humanity that did. And how can you claim that what clings to the outside of you is one of the things that made you of value? The only thing King, X, and the slaves at the bottom of the ocean were after was hoping that one day the color of their descendants wouldn't matter. Yet here you go, telling me how your color defines you, my brother, let it go. You preach on and delegate, yet hold on and separate. I'm just at the common ground where we can all equate. I've been around long enough that I've come to find that love knows no shame, that's why it's called blind. And when binding conditions to it, such as color and race, you begin to destroy love's face. All of this blackness, black that, and where black began is pointless. I took it upon myself to simply be a man. In my eyes, no color shall define me. No system with no taxonomic value shall confine me. No society shall design me. And if I am forced to not be my own person, someone should chalk line me. So stop building up walls to find different types of we when the real we consists of one humanity.
Our society is still in its infancy. It will devolve the instant we take away the foundation race has laid. It's still a trump card like the ace of spades. Race may have made me stronger, but has oppressed others for even longer. I'm only a rarity of this disparity. Apparently, the gardens of our race are barren, can't you see? If I don't speak up, my brothers, if I don't speak up for my brothers, then who will? Because as of right now, the hood still looks like the BP oil spill. We've been fighting for years. Why suddenly choose defeat? Because I guarantee you, if we silence ourselves, then history will repeat. I'm not hung up with the past. I learned from it. Although I did time travel, I returned from it just to make this statement. I'm not a racist, but if I do not remind society to remind, then my people will stay in stasis. If you really want to fix this problem, then teach your children to judge not by color, and I'll teach mine to love one another. Our generation is more accepting than ever. Society has its problems, but look at Howard County and tell me that we cannot learn to live together. You make a point, but this silence needs to stop, because we're not just black, white, or gray. We are every color in the whole damn box. So as I draw my conclusion, withdraw from your delusions, and realize that in a few years the word race will have no impact if and only if, through our blood, sweat, and tears, we keep our voices intact.
I think what we can both agree on
Is that this topic is bigger than either of us could ever agree on. This is an issue that plagues our society. It makes no difference to put up walls and try to lie to me.
Many of you may think these emotions were feigned,
Or that we're a little deranged.
I hope the thing we made clear
Is that
something
needs
to be
changed.